go ahead. But I'm still going to call on numbers. This test quiz tomorrow comes in 3 parts. First part, Hills and Sass. We spent 2 days on it. First, you need a right triangle. What else needs to be contained in that right triangle? What else needs to be contained in that right triangle for me to identify, oh, geez, this is a Hills and Sass, because you just can't throw out Hills, Sass tomorrow and hope it sticks. You need a certain type of diagram. So what else needs to go in my diagram other than it being a right triangle? 19? An altitude. Specifically where?
From the hypotenuse.
To the?
To the hypotenuse.
From the? Right angle, correct. Altitude to the hypotenuse. That's what I want to see. Altitude to the hypotenuse. Then I've created a couple segments here. 2 segments, which we call segments. I got this line here I just drew in. That's the altitude. I have a leg. I have another leg. And the final piece I have is a hypotenuse of the big right triangle. I need that diagram to do Hills and Sass. If it's not that diagram, see you later. All right, so let's talk about the first version, Sass. I got a question for a couple people. Here we go. 7, what's the S stand for? Segment. A?
Altitude.
A?
The same altitude.
Same altitude. And then S?
Different segment.
Different segment. All good. Means are always equal. Extremes are always different. So that's how I know it's not going to be the same segment. 2 different segments. And then I have Hills. H. Yep. I have it labeled up there, so we don't need to discuss it. L.
Leg.
And again, you pick the leg you have the information for or you're trying to find. L.
Same leg.
Same leg. S.
Segment.
Which one?
The one that touches the leg we use.
Correct. One adjacent or next to the leg being used in the proportion. Also remember here, you also have what is the third option if available. You have 3 right triangles there. Hills and Sass, maybe you don't see it, but maybe what might be an option too? Pythagorean theorem. Remember that. Pythag is still an option. I don't want you guys to get in the mindset tomorrow that I have to use Hills and Sass. You could get away with using Pythag if you know 2 sides and you need the third. All right? Speaking of Pythag, yep. Okay, it's more than a squared plus b squared equals c squared, by the way. Now that's beautiful. Great job. All right, great job. Also, be prepared tomorrow. Let's say I have y plus 2 all squared. How are you going to handle that tomorrow? How are you going to handle that? And then I don't know, just say this is y squared equals 10. I don't know, whatever. How are you going to handle that there tomorrow? Y squared, y plus 2 all squared. How do we handle that? 5. Y plus 2 off to the side. You guys do y plus 2 times y plus 2 and get after it. Okay? All good? I got to clear that out. Here's what else I'm going to have to do Pythag for tomorrow. Let me just check something real quick so this will work out. Yep. Yeah, we're good. Those are 3 sides of a triangle. Is it acute, obtuse, or right? Okay, 3 sides of a triangle right there. Is it acute, obtuse, or right? How do I check? I compare the a squared plus b squared to c squared. Just because I put it in this order doesn't mean these are the 2 smallest and that's the biggest. You saw me just check right now, 2 radical 2. Everyone see what it's equal to as a decimal? So do you see where the 2 smallest sides are? 2 radical 2 and 4 squared. See how it compares to 5 squared. Everyone ready to use your calculator? I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'm going to talk about it right now. So we don't make a mistake tomorrow just because we don't know how to use the calculator. So ready, 2 radical 2 squared. If I do this, we talked about this. The calculator's thinking to square what? You want to square what if you write that in? Just radical 2. But what do I need to square? 2 radical 2. So what are you going to put in your calculator instead? Parentheses, correct. So 2, radical 2, all squared. 8. Okay, so if you need to square that, make sure it's the whole thing, just not the radical. Keep going then. 8 plus 16. How does that compare to 25? 24 and 25. The c squared part is greater. What can you tell me about this triangle then? This is an obtuse triangle. Okay, get ready for it tomorrow. Get ready. We're all comfortable with this right here. We're all good. Don't make mistakes tomorrow on the calculator. Put it in parentheses if you're squaring it. 45, 45, 90. Legs are congruent. Remember that. Legs are congruent. There's no shorter. There's no longer. There's 2 legs and they're equal. Hypotenuse. What's the deal? How do you find the hypotenuse? 11.
You still leg times that.
That's it. Okay. And then I got to go over 30, 60, 90 with you. How do you find the hypotenuse in the 30, 60, 90? 30, 60, 90, how do you find the hypotenuse? 22?
2 times the shoulder leg.
Good. 2 times shorter leg. And then what can I use to find the longer leg now? 5? All right. Let's get caught up to 17. Shorter leg times radical 3. I have some reminders here. First thing, rounding reminders. Rounding. When do we round? Darn right, at the end of the problem. If you're doing a problem that should be rounded to the nearest tenth, and you're in the middle of the problem and you get a long decimal, you keep that long decimal going. Okay, you keep the full calculator display going until the very end, then you round. I went over 2 radical 2 squared. Also, if I get this as a final answer tomorrow, we're going to leave it like that. Nope. Cannot have a radical in the denominator. How are you going to fix it then tomorrow? If this does come up, Tammy, how are we fixing it?
Multiplied by
Radical 2 over radical 2. What's in the numerator? The top. 3 radical 2. How about on the bottom? 2. Now, I can't do it here, but if I can divide these two, I will. All right, it's not divisible there, but if I can divide them, I will. There you go. Any questions from you guys? Yep, Eva, go ahead.
So if you can't divide them, do you just leave it in
Yes.
the fraction form?
I would prefer that over 1.5. Yes. Yep. Is it wrong if you did 1.5 radical 2? No, it's fine. It's fine. But definitely divide them if you can. Absolutely. It's not simplified yet. Other questions or comments? So what period 2 decided to do earlier this morning, and I assume you'd like to do the same thing instead of me standing up here talking anymore and doing these review problems with you, I'm going to let you choose your own adventure right now with whoever you want. Okay, that might come back on me, but you better be doing this and getting ready if I let you work with anybody else. 3 places to review before I let you go. 3 places. One is right in front of you right now in your packet. Answers are up on Classroom. Everyone see at the top, there's also textbook questions to try that are pretty good. In addition to all that, because I know this is going to be tough, and I rarely, if ever, do this for a quiz, up on Classroom, there's an extra review. This extra review is just all straight up Hill SAS, straight up 30, 60, 45, 45, 90. Can you find the missing side? All right, so that's the extra review. 3 different places you can go right now. If you choose to work with somebody else, you better look each other in the eye and say, we're not screwing around. We're not talking about the drama outside of class right now. We're getting this done because there's going to be no excuses tomorrow. Any questions? Call me over if you need help. If you're, last thing, if you're going to decide to work in your packet right now, get the darn answer key open, please, so you can see if you're doing it correct or not, and call me over. All right, let's go. We got work to do. You got 20 minutes here. I don't care where you go independently with each other, but it better be all on this. So don't work with somebody you're tempted to screw around with or talk about other stuff with.